All right, we'll give the other stream here just a second to get up and running. Don't think it has quite yet. Yeah, okay. Actually, it should be live now. All right, we just closed here. Been closed for about 2 minutes. Had to finish up a trade. That's why just a couple minutes after the close here. We'll go over that. We'll also go over the market, talk about what to expect going into tomorrow, review what happened the last couple of days. All right, get us caught up on the kind of result of the Fed move. Okay? All right, let's get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for December 16th, 2021. Q's down 2.57, SPY down 0.83, and then IWM down 2. Okay, so we didn't have a new market wrap yesterday, but going into the Fed, I was, expecting. I knew I'd be out for tomorrow afternoon. That the Fed move, not sure which way it was going to go, but what we often see is that the Fed move gets erased the very next day, right? I said that on Wednesday or Tuesday. That a lot of times we'll see the Fed move and then the next day completely erases. So even on the day of the Fed, when that market day closes, we don't necessarily get the full picture. All right, and so that was definitely relevant for today. Okay, so today we basically went back to where we were prior to the Fed announcement. There it is on the IWM. This is, you can see where the volatility picks up. And then the Qs as well. Qs were here, got the big rally. SPY was here, got the big rally, so we're mostly back. Okay. So what does this mean for tomorrow? Tomorrow, underneath today's low, we don't really have the trigger of the buy set up yet. Maybe on the at least on the 1 hour we do. I usually use the 65 so that all the bars are of equal duration. Because on a 1 hour chart, one of these bars will be 30 minutes in length. So I'm going to be using today's low. If we break underneath today's low, going to be bearish. Otherwise, I'm going to remain neutral. You can see the SPY, the rally that it had, the uptrend that I put in place here during this short time. It's primarily just that Fed rally, right? So rally, and then now is this going to be a higher low? That's the question. Q's barely a higher low, basically all the way back down. So it's not a very good buy setup. These buy setups do typically fail. It's a very low quality one, but because it still is a buy setup, given the higher high there was the previous high and the low, and then a little bit of a higher low we have here. I'm going to stay with neutral and then bearish if we fail. So today's move definitely negated a lot of the move up from yesterday from the Fed. Okay, so we've seen this a bunch. That's why I kind of said ahead of time, just even if we get a definitive move or a decisive move right after the announcement, and even while the Fed chair is talking, look for the next day, because a lot of times we just kind of give that move back. Okay, so neutral for tomorrow. Underneath today's low, we will be bearish. Otherwise, I'm going to stay neutral. If we get a decent rally back up to the highs, then we'll be looking for the next entry long. Okay. All right. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Just going to go over the plays from yesterday and today. I told the room today, and they know this too. Been passing on a lot of plays. Just it's been the last few weeks. I've been saying quality over quantity. And, I'm really trying to hammer that home and really trying to trade with that approach. Okay. So, yesterday was the Rev G. Okay. Rev G here. I was on the mic just saying, I'm playing it. This is where the entry. I think I ended up using the bigger stop. So my stop was up here. Okay. And so that was the play on the Rev G, and then just close it at the end of the day. Okay. I asked the room this. Only one person got it, which I was kind of surprised, because I say it every month. During FOMC, I don't change my management at all. Especially if I've been in something for hours, which in the case of this one, by the time FOMC came out, I have been in this for a few hours. Because typically the thing that I'm playing is on its own page, and it doesn't matter. When I first started trading, I would close everything out right before FOMC, like 2 to 5 minutes before. I'll just try to get out of everything. And then because I thought, well, FOMC, it's going to mess everything up. You know, if I'm short something, what if that makes the market move up? It's gonna mess up my play. Or if I'm long and it comes in hard, just mess up my play. And then I just saw kind of month after month, every time that happened, when I would get out, I didn't need to. And so you can see here where you can't even tell on this chart really when FOMC news comes out yesterday, right? And this was just closed at the end of the day. Now, Qs, of course, yes, if you're playing something that's like leveraged version of the Qs or very market dependent or not on its own page, right? Then you know. I mean, you look at this, you know when FOMC came out, right? You don't even need, you don't even need both the volume and the candles. You could just have one or the other and it would be obvious. You could look at the volume, you say, okay, yep, right at 2 o'clock. Or if you were looking at the chart, ignoring the volume, wide range bar, and it starts the move. So there it is, 2 o'clock. How much does the REVG care yesterday? Very little, right? Here it is at 2 o'clock. Little bit maybe, but then what does it do? Market goes higher, and then this goes and makes new lows. Didn't do that was this morning, but goes and makes new lows. Okay? So I was kind of surprised because I say it all the time. I say it in the market wrap too. FOMC, I generally don't make any changes. Management stays the same. Some trades will get messed up. Just over time, some of them, yeah. But that could happen at any time. I could be playing something 10 minutes after the open and then the news comes out or the market makes a significant move, can mess up the play also. So, I try not to just, overdo it. Now, it does make sense, that you're like, well, what if it messes up the play and I'm worried about that, then fine. But in my experience, in the type of plays that I take, it is better just not to do anything. Just stick with the normal management. If it's at target, I'm going to trail it. If it's already gotten past the target, I'm trailing off the hourly, I'm going to trail it normally. But a lot of times it just ends up being like a normal play. Would this maybe have worked even better if the market had come in after the FOMC instead? Maybe it would have been a bigger play. But there was no reason to just like arbitrarily get out of it out of, concern for the FOMC. Because as we saw, FOMC rallied huge on the Qs yesterday, and the REVG still closed at the lows. So it's because I'm playing things that I expect will be on their own page. Okay. And so a lot of times you're fine just staying with it, especially if you've been in it. Now I try not to enter into new plays right ahead of FOMC. I don't think that's a good idea. But like in the case of the REVG, I've been in that since like whatever, an hour or so after the open. Okay. All right. And then today's play, IRNT, was funny because I had this called and then Sammy called it as well right after. And then I went ahead and canceled mine and let him manage it, which is because, it's fine. He called it first actually in the morning. And then he was doing a replay. So for the replay, I just used it as an ad opportunity. I'll show you what it looks like. Here's the gap first. Okay, I really like this gap. Not as good as the REVG. Look at the REVG gap yesterday. That's why, I'm playing it. Okay, and really the good gaps, the daily charts, that's what I care about most. I don't care about the intraday pattern as much. I do care about it, but always the daily chart comes first. Okay, look at this, clearing all-time lows. All right. And then 2 minute base breakdown and then another base breakdown, even longer than the other base. So when you do an ad, you typically do want the second entry to be higher in quality or as good, because by adding, you are running the risk that you're going to turn a losing play into a winning play, right? Because you're adding more shares and you're lowering your stop. So there's a little bit higher chance you could get shaken out versus where the previous stop was. Okay. So yeah, this was the only play for me today. IRNT, and just stuck with it all day. Okay. That's it. Because it didn't get to 2 hours, I didn't check the hourly at all. But it looks like, yeah, hourly there was potential here to get shaken out over 90 actually. But because I knew it never really got to a big target here. I just closed the end of day. I was entertaining the idea of holding it overnight as well. I think that would have been fine to do actually, but I don't know. I went back and forth on it, ultimately decided not to hold some overnight. Because it does really look good closing up the lows here, and the bar wasn't that big today either. So anyway, but I decided just, I don't know. I like starting fresh the next day in my day trading account. So I decided to just close the whole thing. All right. So yeah, if you feel like this week, there's a lot of tricky stuff, make sure that the stuff that you're looking at, if you find that tricky, is actually really high quality play. That there's not a problem on the daily. There isn't a bunch of resistance in the way or support in the way if you're shorting. Make sure the gap is good. Make sure it's not already really extended. Make sure liquidity is there. I just think that with the worse gaps list, the fewer earnings, we just have lower quality plays in general. Okay, so make sure that you're not settling for lower quality plays, and then as a result, dealing with all the back and forth that a lot of lower quality plays give you. Okay. All right, so just a reminder there, if things start to pick up, if the market goes on a run or something, we start to see a lot more opportunity and reason to be aggressive, I'll let you know, just like when we got into earnings season, right? But as we anticipated, after Thanksgiving into the end of the year, it's really just, if the really good play is there, go for it. If it's not, just take it easy. Okay? All right. Hope you're doing well. We'll be back at it tomorrow to finish out the week, and I'll talk to you then. Have a good evening.